After 2 full days of deliberation and facing a holiday weekend, the jury considering the fate of the paramedics in the death of Elijah McClain appears no closer to a decision, and the judge today told them to keep at it.
Denver 7's Danielle Kreuter is live outside the Adams County Courthouse. Danielle, there was some indication there may be a split in this jury.
Yeah, the biggest development today is several jurors telling the judge they feel hopelessly deadlocked in their deliberations. Right now, it's not clear what charges or even which defendants the jury may be split on, but the judge reminding them it is their duty to come to a verdict and they need to use the evidence and the facts to make a decision. So those jurors are still in deliberation right now at this hour. Meanwhile, I spoke to 2 legal experts today, not directly connected to this case, but they shared their perspective on what jurors are having to consider tonight.
It struck me as a very important case. I'm very concerned about police use of force, especially against people of color. And so I've been following it for that reason.
DU Law Associate Professor Ian Farrell has been following the trials connected to Elijah McClain's death closely. Now the final criminal trial is focusing on the paramedics who responded that night, both facing charges of reckless manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide.
In order to be guilty of reckless manslaughter, the prosecution has to prove beyond reasonable doubt essentially 2 things. One is that the defendants caused the death of Mr. McClain, and the other is that when they did so, they acted with the mental state of recklessness.
Reckless meaning to be aware of an unjustifiable risk that someone will die, but moving forward anyway. The standard is lower for criminally negligent homicide.
They merely need to show that they should have been aware. And the way that's framed is, would a reasonable paramedic in the circumstances have realized that this would put Mr. McClain at an unjustifiable risk of death?
Former prosecutor turned criminal defense attorney Jim Stanley says to prove that medical professionals ignored a substantial risk is a hurdle for the prosecution.
That's a hard thing to prove. I mean, these are professionals. That's what they have to establish. An unjustified risk. See, there's another adjective there. There's a risk, and we all know, everybody knows, in the medical treatment, there's always a risk.
For both charges, the alleged overdose of ketamine given to McClain by paramedics that night does not need to be the only thing that killed him. With no verdict heading into a long holiday weekend, it's something attorneys could be concerned about.
The defense would not want to schedule a trial where there's going to be any pressure on the jury to make a decision too quickly. So holiday coming up, to get 12 people to agree on something that this magnitude is huge, and it takes time. And you don't want just, okay, we got it, let's get this done.
Of course, anything is still possible tonight with those jurors back in deliberation. If they don't come to a verdict tonight, they will be back in court deliberating on Tuesday after the holiday. Reporting live in Adams County, I'm Danielle Kreuter, Denver 7.
Going in depth now on what could happen to the 2 defendants regarding their jobs following a verdict. Both Cooper and Shakuniak are Aurora City workers and therefore fall under the rules of the city charter. They were both suspended without pay when they were indicted. According to the charter, if they are found guilty and convicted of a felony, they will be fired. If they are found not guilty, they could be reinstated with back pay. That's what happened in the case of Aurora police officer Nathan Woodyard, who was acquitted last month. He will be reintegrated into the Aurora Police Department and paid more than $200,000 worth of back pay.